Hello people of the world, hello people of Australia, this is the Trews. Subscribe to Trews here. Stop the boats! What boats? All boats? No, just boats with poor people on them.
For a year, all asylum seekers who've come to Australia by sea have been sent to temporary camps in Papua New Guinea or on the Pacific island of Nauru.
Anything where people are sent to camps makes me nervous. It's the whole mentality of anti-immigration really seems to me like an old-fashioned one and not in tune with our progressive, globalised times. Tony Abbott says he wants to stop people that are travelling in rickety vessels, telling them that they would not receive a one-way ticket to a good life. I don't reckon he's ever been on an immigration vessel because I don't reckon that there's an atmosphere of we're on our way to the good life and it's a one-way ticket. Oh no, my cousin just died in the cargo bay. Terrible, oppressive, frightening conditions, fleeing from wars. I wonder who caused those wars or benefited from those wars. Abbott also said, and this is weird when this kind of thing happens, he could accept the yearning for a better life that beats in the heart of every human being. That's really poetic, isn't it? I accept that. There's a yearning that beats in the heart of every human being. Yes, there is, Tony. Wow, let's smash that yearning to silence with my fist.
There, their refugee claims are assessed. But to deter more migrants from attempting the sea voyage, the Australian government says even confirmed refugees will not be allowed in.
As usual, the refugee problem isn't as bad as people anticipate. There's only 0.99% of the world's total refugees go to Australia, which signed a refugee convention. It's bound by international law, therefore, to give people fleeing political persecution the right to protection.
So where will they go? Australia's been looking to other countries. Cambodia eventually said yes for about $35 million in aid.
Cambodia is both ill-equipped and an unsafe place to send refugees.
Perfect! Have you got the equipment? No! Are you safe? No! The refugees are coming!
And if you look at the region, Australia is actually the country that's most well-equipped.
Have you got the equipment? Yes! Is it safe? Yes! The refugees are coming! No, they fucking ain't!
Deportation of refugees only applies to those who arrived after July 2013. Tens of thousands arrived before then. When Australia's government was elected last September, it promised they too would never be allowed to call Australia home. In practice, that means a life of limbo.
These concentration camps sound a bit, well, they're not actually called concentration camps, but they sound like people are concentrated in them, and they are consistently called camps. They sound a bit worrying. There's 3,000 people detained off Australia's shores in these detention centres. Tony Abbott said, even though journalists aren't allowed to get in them, he says, I'm confident that we are running these centres competently and humanely. Well, can we look? No! Jesus Christ! No! He also said, this is more amusing, we don't apologise for the fact that they're not 5-star or even 3-star hotels. I mean, look at it. There's goop everywhere. There's a crying child over there. Barbed wire fences. It's depressing and disgusting. 1 star.
No refugees have successfully reached Australia by boat this year. It is, say some, turning its back on some of the world's most desperate people.
It's hard to think of another argument too, though. Some could see that as turning your back on the world's most desperate people. Other people see it as a crazy new quiz show. Let's not let anyone in Australia. Here's your host, Tony Abbott.
We are in a fierce contest with these people smugglers.
He does think it's a quiz show. Tony, why are there even white people in Australia? How did white people get to Australia? I think the soil, was it? We came out of the soil, we emerged from the soil. No, what it was, Tony, is people come there on boats.
If we were at war, we wouldn't be giving out information that is of use to the enemy just because we might have an idle curiosity about it.
Oh, idle curiosity. What about with immigrants? Is there a reason you're not letting them in? That's Amnesty International, not just like teenage poets.
I am not going to release information which will be exploited by people smugglers to the peril of their customers.
Customers? Why not try being smuggled, clenched into tight conditions? Suffer as you are under a tarpaulin sheet. Grieve as your relatives die on the treacherous seas. Oh, yes, please.
In Sydney on Friday, there was a protest against the move. but it was very small. For most Australians, refugees in Nauru are out of sight, out of mind.
Nearly 1,500 refugees have died trying to reach Australia since '98. Imagine if that was a different section of the world's population. That would be a terrible tragedy. The thing is as is often the case with immigration issues, whether it's Mexican people going to a bit of Mexico that used to be called Mexico but now is called Los Angeles, causing a stir on Fox News in America, or immigrants coming into our country that are often displaced by our military action in foreign territories, the way that we're given the information is disruptive and misleading. Here are some facts on asylum seekers that really undermine the idea that this is an economic policy as opposed to a racist and ideological one. Some argue that taking asylum seekers is ruining the economy, but the entire refugee spend is 4% of the welfare budget. That's 0.8% of, I know, I was shocked too, that's 0.8% of the entire budget. Is there money elsewhere in Australia that could be utilised? Are there other economic streams that are left untapped? Are there a global community that are trotting around the planet, signing up to agreements for trade in one place, signing up for tax arrangements in another place? Well, obviously there are. The Tax Justice Network of Australia said that Rupert Murdoch's company paid the Australian Tax Office 1.1% of pre-tax profits of $5.4 billion between 2004 and 2013, which is helped because they have, his companies, 146 subsidiaries, including 25 in the Virgin Islands and 19 in Mauritius. See, Rupert Murdoch is a refugee of the world. Rupert Murdoch can be a refugee in the Virgin Islands, a refugee in Mauritius, a refugee in Guernsey, and not pay tax in Britain, not pay tax in Australia, not pay tax in the United States. But actual refugees who have been displaced, often by our political activity, they can't get no traction. They can't get no satisfaction or opportunities. For them, the gates are closed. We dominated this world by treating it as one planet. Global corporations treat it as a borderless world where they can go where they want and do what they want. But if the poor people of the world, similarly, in search of a better life because of the yearning in the heart of a human being for improvement, then those doors are slammed for them. We should be closing the doors for corporations who already have wealth and affluence and opening the doors to the needy. That's obvious.
If stopping the boats means being criticised because I'm not giving information that would be of use to people smugglers, so be it.
Obviously, we don't want to create a climate where people smuggling becomes the norm. We know quite a lot of people smugglers and people smuggler customers watch the Trews and might now be thinking, right, I'm going to get people smuggled. No, you don't want people getting on dangerous, rickety vessels to travel around the world. But what you do need is a global ideology where the needy people of the world are treated compassionately with open arms, whereas the wealthy corporations are appropriately taxed wherever they go. You want policies, don't you? How about this? A new global ideology where corporations are properly taxed and a subsidiary fund is created that helps the world's poor. So the richest corporations help the world's poorest people. Billions a year garnered in tax used to help the poorest people to be relocated as a result, often of the economic activities of corporations of this nature. If you want some more information or you want to support some of these causes, look at the Asylum Seeker Resource Centre or learn more at adjustaustralia.com or have a look at the Refugee Action Coalition. That is some true news.
Nose is a tool that is abused to fool you and to leave you scared and confused. Trews is like the nose. If the nose was true, I want some Trews. Let's have some Trews.